Hello everyone, in this video we will be going to see how to create an end-to-end LLM application, and we will deploy this LLM application on AWS. So what we are going to build, let us first talk about that. So basically this is our application that we are going to build. First of all, we have a LLM application, and that LLM application will be deployed using AWS Lambda function and API gateway. Now I will talk about each of the component in great detail. So first of all, let us understand what is an S3 bucket. Think like this as a Google Drive. So you know Google Drive where we keep all the materials, right? Like upload all the things. So here Amazon S3 bucket will be treated as final output. So final output of this LLM application will be stored in the S3 bucket. Clear? Is S3 clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next, lambda function is there. So lambda function basically is used for writing the code. So your Python code and everything will be written inside the lambda function. So this is a service in AWS which act like as a function as a service. Means you write the code and deploy it in the environment directly. And these services basically use something called as IAM. So this key type of thing that you see, this thing is called as IAM. IAM means identity and access management. So let us say your application need these types of policies, these types of permission. So IAM, what it will do, it will help you to assign the policies, permission, all sorts of things to that lambda function. Clear? Is this thing clear? IAM?
That's clear.
So IAM help you to create rules which contain various policies, permission. Like each application has some permission required. Like you need the permission for accessing the S3 bucket. You need the permission for API gateway. You need the permission for AWS BedRock. So all the permission you define inside IAM role. Next we have BedRock. BedRock is a place where all the generative AI application will be there. Like your Llama, your Claude, anything, any other application. So all the things you can get it from BedRock. And then we have API gateway. What is an API gateway? Basically it is an API. So here you can publish your API directly, like you can deploy your API directly in AWS. So what happened? Let us say I have written a query, like write a blog in 300 words on a particular topic. So in the background, it will hit the API. After that, API will call our lambda function. Lambda function will authenticate everything, like it will take all the rules or the permission from the IAM, then go to AWS BedRock, get the result, and output the result in the S3 bucket. So this is the whole architecture that we are going to make. Now, the first thing that you have to do, you have to go to AWS Management Console. So this is AWS Management Console. After that, the first thing that you need is you have to go to lambda function. And you have to click on create a function. So what this platform will do, here in this platform, you can write your Python code and deploy it. So let me create the name of the function, like let me name it as LLM demo. Now here it is asking which programming language you want to choose. So here you can see there are many programming languages available. I am going to choose Python 3.11. Clear? And by default, the architecture will be Linux. So here we will be choosing ARM64. Now here we can see there is a role option, like IAM role option. So we will leave as it is, like default role will leave as it is. After that, we will click on create a function. So this is your first step, create a lambda function. Now, here is the coding part. Like this thing, you have to write down your code. Once you write down your code, you have to click on deploy. After that, you have to click on configuration. And here we can see timeout is 3 seconds. What do you mean by timeout? Let us understand this thing. Suppose that how much time your Python program takes to run. So currently it is a LLM application, right? So what we will do, we will increase this timeout configuration because it may take more than 3 seconds to execute our Python program. So what I can do, I will go to edit and I will increase this timeout to, let us say, 3 minutes 30 seconds. After that, I will click on save. First thing clear? Can you tell me what is the use of timeout?
To increase the execution time.
To increase the execution time. Next thing, if you remember, we need some permission, like IAM role is needed. So if you go here, click on permission. Here we can see a default role is by default created, and you have to click on this role. So this will open a tab. So I think, just wait a second. You can see when you click on this thing, IAM tab is getting open. So here we can see there is one permission given to this AWS Lambda basic execution rule. It means this role can help us to execute the Lambda function. But there are some other permission required. So what I will do, I will try to attach that permission in order to execute my whole project. So I will click on add permission, click on attach policy, and here I am giving administrator access. Administrator access means you have the access for all the services present in the AWS. But if you are working in a company, you need to specify which particular service we need. For example, if you need S3, so what you will do, you write S3 full access and select it out. Clear? Once you have done, click on add permission and it's done. Let me show you the Python code that I'm going to use. So currently I'm using Llama, which is our open source model, we all know. So first library that we need is something called as Boto3. So what is a Boto3? Let us try to understand. Boto3 is a Python library which help us to communicate with all the AWS services. Like if you want to access any particular service of AWS, so with the help of Boto3, you can do that thing. So Boto3 is basically a Python library. With the help of this library, you can access any service in AWS, like your S3 bucket, your BedRock, all the things you can access with the help of Boto3. Then I'm importing some configuration file from Boto3. Then JSON basically like your output must be in JSON format. If you remember that, guys, like the content is there, then there is something like completion token, input token, output token there, right?
Yes, sir.
So all the things in JSON format, then our datetime. Datetime is basically our datetime. Now let me just import our function. So here if you see, we are creating a function. The function name is block generate using BedRock, and this is my topic. Topic is going to have a string type and the output is also string type. And if you remember, for the Llama, we need to use a specific type of prompt template here. So this is the prompt template that I'm going to use. So this is the default one because it is a Llama. So this is the default one. So starting point, instruction. What is instruction? Write a 100-word block on this topic. So the topic that is provided by the user. Then assistance, and this will be your response. Like this, my agent will respond it out. Now we have to give some formatting parameter. We already know that. Prompt, maximum generation length, temperature variable, and top free value. We already know all these things, right? Temperature, you all know. What is the temperature?
Temperature controls the the output.
Controls the randomness of generating our next word. Output,
Yes, sir. Yeah.
we'll say. Similarly, maximum generation length is 512, like 512 token. Top P value is basically like your probabilities value. So top P result, give me top P result. So here is 0.9. Now what I will do, with the help of Boto3 library, I am going to access my BedRock because in the BedRock, all the services are there, right? So we have specified BedRock runtime. Our reason name is US East 1. How do we get this thing? If you go here, if you click on the right hand side, you can see by default, our region is US
Virginia.
East 1, North Virginia. So this is the default region also. Then there will be config file. Config file means Here we are defining our timeout, like maximum you should take 300 seconds, and if you are getting failed, so you can attempt 3 times. Like if you are fail in an exam, you can give 3 reappear. Then I am going to call my model. Which model I am going to call? I am going to call my Meta Llama 3 model. 8 billion parameter, basically. This is the model. Okay. Now the question is, how do you get this state? So you have to go here and search here, BedRock. Click on here. Go down. Sorry, this one. Go down. Model access. You can see, first of all, you need the access of the model. By clicking on, there is a button like modify model access. Click on it and get the access. Once you have all the access, next what you have to do, you have to go to provider. Let us select the provider here. Let us say for me, I am using Meta. And let me select any parameter. So here we are using this model, 8 billion instruct. Now you can see what is my model name. You can see my model name is given there, right? So that thing we will be going to copy and paste it here. Similarly, you have to use another model. Same thing you will do for another model. This model will give me some response, right? JSON response. So what I will do, I will read that response and I will print only the response data. After that, return everything. Once this thing is done, I will call my S3 bucket and I will save my output. So this is the way to call your S3 bucket. And here what I am going to do, the output will be saved in a S3 bucket and the bucket name should be, here it is written. Sorry, here is the bucket name written. Where it is? Yeah, here it is. Calling the function, and this is my bucket name. Bucket name is AWS _bedrock. And in this folder, the output file will be going to get created. That's it. So this is the thing that you have to do. And if there is error, it will show me no block was generated. And if it is success, it will show me the block generation is completed. Any doubts in this? So basically what is happening, let us understand. General overview. First of all, we are defining our system prompt template. Then we are defining all the necessary parameter. After that, I am going to call my BedRock service. And from that BedRock service, I am using my Llama model. Now Llama model will give me response for that output, like write a blog article on AI, 100 word. So it will give me the response and that response will be saved in a TXT file in this bucket, AWS _bedrock. Now you can see you have to create a S3 bucket also. No? So what you will do, just go here. Search here for S3. Click on open link in new tab. And how do you create a bucket? Click on create bucket. If you remember what is my spelling name, AWS _bedrock. So here you don't have to write AWS _bedrock. You have to write like this. Let me just make it as bedrock demo. Okay. So always remember, there should be no underscore while writing the bucket name. It should be hyphen and it should be unique. So let me name it as bedrock demo 007 in order to make it unique. And here I will do the same thing, bedrock demo 007. Now you have to allow the permission to this bucket so that our lambda function can communicate with this. So let me allow this thing and let me enable the public access also. So currently it is block. So what I will do, I will enable this public access, leave as it is, and click on create bucket. That's it. So this is how you can create a bucket. Simple. You can see your bucket is created. Where is bucket? If you remember, what is the bucket name? BedRock demo. So here it is present, BedRock demo 007. So this is basically my bucket. Now you can upload your file also. Now let me take this code. Just take this code. Copy this out. Now if you remember, there is one library particularly we are using, which is Boto3. Now, whenever we are using any external libraries in AWS, we have to create a layer for that library. Otherwise, it will show me like this. The library is not installed. So what I will do, let me just first click on deploy. Now I have to create a layer for Boto3 library. So for this, we have a particular template that you have to follow. Let me just show it to you. If you remember, I've shared you one link also, like my Udemy course link. So from that, you can learn all this thing. So here we are going to use only particular services. That's why I'm showing it to you. Now here we can see how to create custom layer in Windows. So what you have to do, suppose that this is where I am working. First thing that I have to do, I have to create a folder. Create a folder here. Name it as, let me name it as GenAI. Enter. Go inside that folder and open CMD. WSL is basically like Windows subsystem for Linux. So in the command prompt, you can run Linux terminal also. That's why we are using this thing. So when you do WSL -install, after that you have to give some password, like set some password, and within 1 minute it will be installed. The first thing that you have to do is you have to do git clone. Why git clone? Because this is the standard format template that AWS has provided us to do that. So we have to run this command, git clone, click on enter. It's very simple. Let me just show it to you. Now you have to click on CLS, clear the screen. Second thing, you have to go to this particular folder, Python layer_Python layer folder. Now let me go to that folder, and here also let me go to that folder. So here we can see in GenAI we have this folder created. Now I'll go to sample apps folder, then I will go to layer-Python folder, and I will go to layer folder. Any doubts up to this? You can see we are in the same folder, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Now let me clear my screen, and here I am going to open my WSL, Windows Subsystem for Linux. Now we are into the Linux. Now what I have to do? You have to follow this block as it is. First of all, you have to update the whole Linux thing. But before that, what you have to do? Just go click on requirement.txt file, and here instead of request, you have to write Boto3, right? Because we need to install Boto3 library. That's why we are writing Boto3. Now save it out. Now let me just repeat the steps. Sudo apt update. It will asking for password. So what is my password? That the password you have set it. So you can set user also, because I am setting user. And you can see first thing that it will do, it will update my Linux environment. Now let me clear my screen. So I'll write clear here. Then I'm going to install Python in this Linux environment. Done. Then already we have done the requirement.txt file, so we don't need to do. Now I will install Python 3.11 version in this thing. Then I will create a virtual environment with Python 3.11 version. Basically, you have to follow this all step. So here we can see we are creating a virtual environment for this name, create_layer. So this is my environment name, create_layer.
Yes, sir.
And in that environment, I'm going to install Python 3.11. Just wait for a second.
So it is like in our system when we are having a Python 3.8, when we want to use 3.11 for this project, so we can create virtual environment and we can deploy
So
it.
that our libraries don't conflict.
Okay, sir. Got it.
This is one of the drawback of using lambda function, because if you are using any library, you need to create package for that.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Now let me activate my virtual environment. Done. You can see my virtual environment is activated. Now what I will do, I will install my libraries. So same command, pip install -r requirement.txt. In that requirement file, I have specified one library which is Boto3. It will be getting installed. So just wait for a second. Done. Now let me clear my screen. Now you have installed. Now what I will do, I will create a folder named as Python. And I will copy everything from that library to that Python folder. So I will use cp command. cp means copy. Copy everything from create layer environment to this Python folder. Okay. So basically here we are copying everything from that virtual environment into our Python folders. So basically it will take around 1 or 2 minutes of time. Now here you can see it is copied. Now what I will do, I will create a zip file. So what is my zip file name? layer_content.zip. Now let me click on enter and it will create me a zip file for this. And that zip file, I have to upload it to the lambda function. And my work is completed. That's it. You can see it is done. Now let me clear my screen and my whole thing is done. Here we can see a zip file is created, right? layer_content.zip. Any doubts in this? So you have to follow these same steps. I will give you the PPT so you can follow all the same steps. Now, once this thing is done, what do you have to do? Click on here, click on layer and upload this layer. So layer name is Boto3. Upload a zip file. So click on here and upload this. Let me just always remember that what is my folder name? GenAI folder, right? So simple as blank Python. Where is Python? This is my folder. Now click on upload. Compatible architecture, you all know it is created in Linux. So it is ARM64. Compatible runtime, you all know it is Python 3.11 version because we have created virtual environment of Python 3.11. After that, you have to click on create. That's it. Now here you can see it is uploaded. Now what I will do, I will go to the lambda. Basically click on here, click on function, click on this function and let me attach this layer. If this thing is clear, rest everything is just 1 minute of thing. Click on here, you can see in this last option, there is a layer option. So click on add a layer. And here, what you have to do, here you have to add your layer. So if you remember, we have created a custom layer and the layer name is Boto3, right? Version select as 1 and click on add. And this part is our done. Now what you have to do? Just click on deploy this thing. We have created lambda function. We have done the BedRock thing. We have done the IAM thing. We have done the S3 bucket thing. Now the last thing is remaining is API gateway. Now we have to create an API for this. It's very simple. You just have to go to API gateway. So with the help of this platform, you can create an API in a very easy manner. That is the benefit of using AWS. You can create an API in 1 minute of your time, less than 1 minute. What do you have to do? Just click on create API. Currently we are using HTTP API. So click on import sorry, not import, build. What is your API name? So let us name it as GenAI. Clear? Now click on review and create, and click on create. Now what you have to do, whenever you create a API, you need to create some routes. So currently we are creating one method which is called as post method. Why post method? Because if you remember here in this code, we need to give block topic, right? Like user need to give block topic. That's why we need to create post method here. And here just name it as blog. Click on create and done. And here you have to click on post method and attach your integration. If you remember, our integration is basically our lambda function, so we will attach it to out. So here just select your lambda function and that's it. Click on create. But currently we are using for testing purpose, so it will not cost. Now what I am going to do, I will click on stages and I will deploy my API. So whenever you are working in a company, you have three types of environment, like development environment will be there, testing environment will be there, QA environment will be there, and production environment will be there. So currently, let me just do production. So just write prod. So first of all, what you have to do, click on stage, click on create, name it as production, and click on create. That's it. Now you can see production is there. Now what I will do, I will click on deploy, and here I will deploy my API in the production environment. And my API is deployed. You can see this is your link. Yeah. So this is your API. Now your API is deployed. Anyone can use it. Now the question is, how do we can use it? So for this, you need to download the Postman platform. Open it out. You have to create an account with Google. That's it. Click on allow. And here, if you remember, we have to do post request. And what is my API here? This is my API. And you have to write here /blog. Why blog? Just let me show you why blog. If you go here in the route method, we have created one /blog method, right? /blog. That's why we are routing here. That's where we are writing after production /blog. And here we have to generate, let us say, blog. So what I will do? I will pass a JSON. Let us say blog topic is machine learning. So it will write an article of machine learning in 30 words. And you have to click on send. That's it. Just wait for a minute. You can see it is written like my blog generation is completed. Now how I will see my output? Just go to your lambda function. In lambda function, we basically have a service called as cloudwatch. Cloudwatch is a service which helps us to monitor all our logs. So you have to open this CloudWatch. This is a service provided by AWS to maintain all our logs. Now you can see a log stream is created when I hit the API button. If you click on here, you can see the blog is created. Like 100 article blog is created here. You can see. Now if you verify your S3 bucket, let me go to S3 bucket and just click on refresh. And here we can see I have a folder created, and in that folder a text file created. Now what I will do, I will download this text file And let me verify this output. You can see it here. So this is my final output.